Stay tuned for a vibe giveaway by Bellesa. Therapy? I've never heard of her. All my alter needs is, a little TikTok filter, a TikTok account, some fangs. Today we are diving into the world of the Pillow Fort system, or Vermin and Rats. They're a former theater kid who loves Steven Universe, role-playing, Dungeons and Dragons, but they also live with a complex range of disorders, including narcolepsy type 1, Tourette's, polyfragmented DID, ADHD, schizophrenia, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, dyslexia, hyperlexia, PMDD, BPD, OCD, and ASD. Despite the fact that a lot of the disorders they have tend to be the most faked online, they don't really share a lot about their diagnosis journey, it's important to say that, people obviously cannot choose what disorders they have. They also claim to have a wide range of alters within their DID system, including demonic alters, furry alters, My Little Pony alters, and one that reportedly needs to before bed. Of course, we can't forget about the Jesus alter, who comes forward anytime anyone says, Jesus Christ, and then he just goes back in the headspace.
A fictive of Jesus Christ. He pretty much just fronts, on a rare occasion when somebody will say Jesus Christ, he'll just front and be like, hey, what's up? And then before we can ask any questions or get any clarification, he just laughs and then pieces out.
I do think it's fair to say they have embraced who they are on TikTok. Speaking of embracing ourselves, let's dive into the world of sexual wellness with Bellesa. My friends at Bellesa and I are literally giving out free vibrators and gift cards to everyone who signs up for my giveaway. Bellesa is a by women, for women company dedicated to all things sexual wellness. Their mission is to empower everyone to embrace, explore, and celebrate their sexuality. And I'm really excited to be collaborating with them because of my personal journey with sexual health. Growing up in a strict household, conversations about sexual wellness were pretty much non-existent. So I felt pretty far behind when I finally started exploring these topics. Now I'm learning to talk about sexual health more comfortably and understand that not only is it normal, but an essential part of our well-being. This pretty pink guy is the Pebble, a beginner-friendly vibe that is highly rated by users. It's designed for independent hand control, fitting perfectly in your hand, and ergonomically crafted for maximum comfort. And here is the best part, there are no annoying pattern modes. So if you're looking for something easy to use and effective, the Pebble might be the perfect choice for you. This red essential is the Air Vibe. It has dual stimulation, and just like the Pebble, it has a beautifully discreet casing. It's waterproof and rechargeable, which means that you won't run out of power when you need it most. Plus, it's completely silent and also deadly, so that you can enjoy your experience without any distractions. And we can't forget about the toy that does it all, the Thump. It vibrates, suctions, and of course, it thumps. Designed to be the ultimate replacement for all your external vibes, the Thump incorporates Bellesa's enhanced pleasure jet technology. So what makes it so special? The feel-true vibrations perfectly complement the suction at its targeted base. And we have to talk about the innovative Thump technology. It delivers natural palpitations right at the back of the pop grip, which definitely enhances your experience even further. Plus, it fits and charges in this discreet carrying case, making it super convenient just to take anywhere. Of course, it's waterproof and USB rechargeable, made from a smooth, premium quality silicone. So if you're looking for a versatile pleasure toy that does it all, the Thump might just be your new favorite. Bellesa offers a wide variety of toys for sexual wellness, so if you are interested, be sure to take advantage of the giveaway down below. How plausible is it that someone could be dealing with 14 different syndromes or disorders at the same time? And how are Vermin and Rats portraying them online? So make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and let's get into it.
You. Yes, you. The fuck was that?
What? I just fronted to kill a fly.
You climbed up the wall and onto the ceiling like a fucking lizard.
It was getting away.
You killed it with fire from your mind.
Right, yeah. So the host actually explained this to me. So different alters can have different physical limits and abilities in the body. It's why Meg is allergic to honey, but the rest of us aren't.
No. You don't get to fucking gaslight me. You're a goddamn demon.
Yeah, but so is Greg, and I don't see you on his case.
Greg can't grow claws at will.
Okay, you know what? I don't need this right now. I promised the littles that I was going to teach them the language of the ancients, and I'm going to keep that appointment. You deal with whatever's going on here.
Oh, you can act all innocent, but I got your fucking number, Carthax. Can you believe that guy?
Oh yeah, just ignore him. He's always like that.
If you don't know, dissociative identity disorder is caused by severe and repeated trauma in which there are 2 or more distinct personality states. In order to seemingly survive, the mind might say, I cannot be experiencing this and continue living, so it splits off into multiple identities. And you're saying, stay with me here, that you want to destigmatize DID online while also doing the same, if not more, than what happens in Split. Sure, Kevin's alters can climb walls, but you know what? Yours also have laser fire eyes. So Split was stigmatizing because it's a fictional movie, but yours isn't because it's a skit on TikTok. I feel like this is the ultimate one-up from a movie that a lot of people say is extremely demeaning to those with DID. Some people say, I don't even want to tell my loved ones that I have DID because they're going to look it up and see Split and think that I'm like that. What is also worrisome is that they are blurring the lines between what is fact and fiction. It is possible for, one alter to be allergic to honey because of something like a psychosomatic symptom, but at the same time, may we reiterate that DID does not give you superpowers. I do understand that this was like a skit created by alters. Love how educational it was, by the way. This can blur the lines between reality and fantasy and perpetuate the idea that DID doesn't exist at all. Some people watching this might have thought it was funny, I don't know, it's up to interpretation, but let's talk about their backstory. After facing challenging circumstances that caused them to leave their home, they got a job at Starbucks and made a TikTok where they talked about their experience with Tourette's syndrome. In 2022, they made a new TikTok primarily talking about their experiences with DID because they felt like some of their friends and family weren't ready to know in real life. 4 months after that, they made a TikTok saying, I have autism spectrum disorder, and so on.
You should do the ASPE quiz on Embrace Autism.
I need you to know that I have taken at least 8 other autism screening tests, and I always score really high. So like, I was expecting, it wasn't like I was going in thinking that I suddenly wouldn't be autistic, but god damn, I was not ready. Your score, 175 out of 200. 100% probability of being atypical. Is that even allowed? Like, I feel like you gotta put it like 99% just as like a disclaimer, right? Like, goddamn! So I think I have what I can just describe to people now as all the autism.
The thing is, autism spectrum disorder is commonly diagnosed in childhood, but okay, it absolutely does happen in adulthood due to things like masking. Whether or not they actually have this diagnosis or if these screening tests they took were like online and they were like,
well, if online says it, I clearly have it.
But they have claimed they went to therapy for 6 years, although they don't share a whole lot of details, and then said that when you have autism spectrum disorder, therapy might not really be helpful for you because they're just rehashing things you already know about yourself. But in my personal experience, and probably a lot of the people watching this, therapy is not just your therapist saying and pointing out what is wrong with you. They're not even gonna suggest like, you have symptoms of this disorder, okay, bye-bye. You know what I mean? They're gonna help you with symptoms. Therapy involves assessing your needs, developing personalized treatment plans, and practical coping skills. They mentioned in several videos that the financial aspect of uploading these TikToks is a major motivator for them, but you know what? The main thing they want to do is educate. So that makes me wonder, are these clips here, are they to educate or for the financial aspect?
So you're a sexual protector. But you front like a lot, and you front much easier than a lot of the other alters? Yes, that is correct. That's really interesting. I wonder why that is. Oh, I know why that is. Do you want me to tell you? Yes. It's because we're autistic, and part of our autistic routine is that we have to play with ourselves before bed every single night before we go to sleep, or we can't go to sleep.
So not only is flicking the bean part of their autistic routine, but it is also an alter. Each case of DID is certainly unique. It varies widely from person to person. You know, it's highly based off of what helped you survive during times of trauma. Faking doesn't always mean that someone might not have the disorder that they're claiming. It could be that they're like exaggerating parts. But what lights up in my head as an indication of faking is when, you know, their behaviors seem inconsistent or exaggerated compared to typical presentations of the disorder, particularly in public or performative aspects. While it is common for alters to have different roles, to me, this just seems very over-specific and performative. In genuine cases of DID, the behaviors of alters are often complex, you know, tied to trauma. They might have specific functions rather than simple routine activities, although I understand that they do claim to be a polyfragmented system. In the most basic terms, polyfragmented DID means that you might have like 100+ alters. You know, some of them can be fragments, as in they might have one role. Given the rarity of their symptoms and the anomaly of having so many disorders, let's take a look at the likelihood that someone might have all of these conditions. So I composed this chart to showcase the likelihood of someone having each of these disorders, one person in every 100. I thought that when I graduated high school, I would never have to do math like this again. You know, when you're in high school and you're like,
I'm never gonna have to use this in real life.
I was wrong. So I multiplied all of these percentages and I got 0.000000000000132% of people on this planet might have all of these conditions, or essentially very close to zero. Any mathematicians watching this, first of all, what's it like? But second of all, correct me if I'm wrong. With 8 billion people on Earth, and because of my Michelle math, as you might want to call it, less than one person on Earth might have it. So what does that mean? I don't know, like once in every few generations. It might be exceedingly difficult to find a case like this, if not impossible. I am going to sneak in here though, like how many of us, raise your hand, okay, it's okay, have exaggerated or lied about something online? Even considering comorbidities, you know, like BPD and DID are both caused by trauma, so it would make sense that you would have both of them. The chances are still astronomically low. Given this unlikely scenario, okay, let's just take a detour to their Jesus altar.
DID is so fucking stupid sometimes. Our boy JC, is a fucking asshole. He is the epitome of a 20-year-old white man who thinks he's funny, and I'm so mad he lives in my brain and is a part of me. So for a while, JC had a running bit where anytime someone would be like, fucking Christ, he would pop up and be like, hello? Which was funny the first couple times, and I swear to God, if this little bastard roller skates and or bikes into the front room again, the vermins are collectively gonna beat his ass.
I do believe that they're talking about this as in their inner world, so a lot of people with DID or even without DID can have an inner world. They say JC, Jesus Christ, gets triggered out whenever anyone says Jesus Christ, but then they're saying it and he doesn't get triggered out, but I'm not gonna question it. Whatever your goal is in therapy, whether it's final fusion or functional multiplicity, the main goal is to have compassion and understanding for your alters and why they're there.
I will power of friendship anyone in the system except for JC. I'm gonna kick his ass. He's been warned too many fucking times. This is genuine rage.
Would a therapist, let's put our therapist hats on right now. If I was a therapist, would I think it's okay for someone to just say negative things about themselves or beat their alter's ass internally? If this is a genuine experience, I'm not quite sure why they're smiling and happy about sharing this experience in their life. Switching between alters can have serious challenges, like, you know, a loss of control, memory gaps. Some people have physical symptoms like sweating, blood pressure changes, high heart rate. These experiences are not amusing. They can be disorienting and distressing for a person with DID. Is it just me, or is it giving duper's delight. Maybe they're laughing because it's just a way of coping, totally normal, or they're laughing because they know it's performative behavior. They might, I don't know, have a desire to entertain or perform for their audience rather than giving a genuine experience.
Now, our system internally does not have a traditional police force, but we do have, like, various type of enforcers in different areas to, like, deal with different problems. And close to front, we have what we call the furry police. They're not police in any way, shape, or form. They're just whatever furry alters happen to be close on hand, and they will just walk in, pick up whoever is causing a problem, and walk away with them. It's so unfair that DID is both so viscerally horrific and upsetting and, like, difficult to live with on a daily basis, and also so silly and stupid sometimes. What do you mean the backwards cap wearing fucking Jesus in Heelys got carried off by the furry police because he won't stop annoying the vermins because of a meme?
It looks like it's being presented for entertainment or a fictional narrative rather than addressing the real life experiences or challenges as a person with DID. I love how they contrast so sharply with the serious nature of DID, which involves trauma. Referring to the furry police, quote unquote, does seem a little bit overly fantastical, although I understand that when you have ASD and DID, it can present a little bit differently. Let me know. The whimsical nature of these descriptions lacks the emotional depth and gravity that is typically seen in DID. I think it's fair. Let's look at their take on Tourette's and see if it has a little bit more of an accurate or respectful representation.
Fair warning, talking about it's probably going to make us tick more than usual. So I think it'll be a good idea to just cover some basic terminology around Tourette's. So if you have ever ticked, even once, you have a tic disorder.
Oh, okay, no, they're giving out questionable mental health advice by saying that if you have ever ticked once, you have a tic disorder. So apparently I think it's time to self-diagnose myself /S with a tic disorder, because, you know, sometimes my arms will just, like, do this little thing. This is, like, once every 6 months. It's not because I'm cold, it's just random, but it doesn't bother me. I go about my day. I don't have a tic disorder.
You have Tourette's if you have had at least 2 physical tics and 1 verbal tic over the course of an entire year. Those are literally all of the qualifications to have Tourette's.
I don't understand. If you have Tourette's, why would you be giving advice out that goes against the DSM-5? The DSM-5, who... I'm a horrible actress. Get away from me. They're not just creating stigmatizing skits, but also giving out dubious mental health advice. This oversimplifying and misunderstanding makes me question if they're minimizing their experiences and saying, like,
Oh, well, I scored that I do have BPD on this test and therefore I have it.
if we all went off of these tests that you take online, like these little fun quizzes that have 15 questions, I guarantee you a lot of us would have 10 plus disorders, according to the internet, right? Also, when they switch between alters, their tics disappear, which is fascinating because Tourette's is a neurological disorder, so if one alter has it, theoretically, all of the alters would have it. But just like people without DID who have Tourette's, whenever you're going through trauma or stress, you might have more tics. They said a lot of their tics are verbal rather than physical, but that's inconsistent with what we see on their TikTok. Whenever they're ticking on their TikTok, tongue twister, their tics are generally physical rather than verbal. They've also noted that talking about their Tourette's syndrome increases their tic frequency, which makes sense because of suggestibility. They've stated that the reason why they primarily tic whenever they're just talking about Tourette's is because whenever they're, making a skit about something else, they'll just re-record whenever they're having a lot of tics. But interestingly, they decide not to do this when they're talking about Tourette's fascists.
Yeah, Tourettes Chasers are a whole fucking thing. So, first of all, there are disability fascists. It tends to center around both enjoying watching a disabled person struggle and the fantasy of, like, being a caregiver or protector, like savior. They're usually men, and usually they are directing these, attention at more at femme presenting folks, women,
Obviously, I'm not a woman, but a lot of people think that we are. Under the subset of disability there is a specific group of people who are into Tourette's and like tic disorders. I don't like to think about how many strangers have beat off to my disability. Disabilities. Tourette's isn't the only one.
They talk openly about how they're aware that there are disability and Tourette's online, but coincidentally is also a furry who makes videos about what it's like being a werewolf with autism spectrum disorder.
I wish I could just be covered in fur all of the time. I hate wearing clothes. It really just puts a whole new meaning into puppy play.
They seem to know a lot about disability more than the average person. You know, it's fine. Maybe they just had communication with these people online, but also I now have more knowledge on devotees, yes, that's what they're called, than I ever thought I would need to know. Thank you, internet. On that note, let's talk about how representations affect public perception.
You know, sometimes we'll have people ask us, like, how do you deal with all of the stress in your life? Like, you are dealing with so many mental illnesses and disabilities on a daily basis. Like, what are your coping mechanisms, you know? And, like, there's no right or wrong answer to that question, obviously.
Promoting smoking a flower in order to manage symptoms of DID or any of the disorders they're claiming can be quite problematic. It can be very similar to using a band-aid on a broken leg. This was your chance! Pillow fort system. You could have talked about, you know, your process in therapy, how you have such good communication with your alters, but no. DID is a complex mental health condition that requires professional treatment, including therapy. I don't see any scientific evidence that says that flour is an effective cure for disorders like DID. In fact, it can make things worse for some people. It can counteract with meds. It is great for other people, but at the same time, it can cause things like flashbacks. Also, if you're using it as a coping mechanism, it has the potential for misuse and dependency. Especially if you have trauma, you might be susceptible to more addictive behaviors. Yes, it is your responsibility not to take everything on TikTok as so literal, but at the same time, imagine you're a person who has gone through trauma and you're watching this video and you think, hey, maybe this will help me. But okay, let's take a look at how they react to comments that they don't approve of.
Thank you for your opinion, someone. I didn't ask for it. I wasn't taking requests, and I'm not gonna do that. You're gonna be blocked after this. Bye-bye. For the record, unsolicited opinions about our appearance falls into the category of audacity that will get you blocked.
What do you mean, if I'm taking requests? You know I'm not. I told you I liked how they looked at the end of the video. That was the entire point, and you didn't listen.
I am too mentally ill for this is a no bullshit zone, okay? I don't have the spoons. I've had like 6 hours of sleep last night, and that was the most sleep that I've got in 3 days.
I'm not here to tell you how you're supposed to react to people making suggestions about your appearance. I'm sure everyone watching this video might have a different response. But I don't know, if someone were to comment on my YouTube video and be like, I think you look cool with purple hair, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. You know, it's too much work. I'm not gonna do that. But thank you for the suggestion. I appreciate it. To me, this commenter seemed like they were making a friendly suggestion rather than saying, I think you look like a disaster right now. But I can appreciate that the pillow fort system set up a boundary that reflects their morals. But coming in hot like,
Stop commenting on my appearance, Karen.
It can come off as argumentative and awkward. I don't know why they felt now was a good time to talk about their sleep and mental health issues. I want to say it was manipulation to make the person feel bad, but I actually do think it was just contextual. Now let's take a look at some scenarios where they caught their cataplexy on camera. If you don't know, cataplexy is a condition that brings on brief bouts of muscle weakness or paralysis.
At first we thought, what? There is no way that's a common name. The filter is clearly broken. At this point we realize, oh right, there are a ton of us using that name law. And there's the cataplexy. Down we go. Got to humid. Friggin' body. It was such a dumb joke to drop over. We're extra annoyed.
It's unlikely that someone would continue recording when they're having a narcoleptic attack or experiencing cataplexy. During these episodes, people might lose control of their muscles or awareness. Now, I mean, if someone has a milder form of narcolepsy or is experiencing something like a microsleep, they might retain muscle control for a short time, but even then, it would still be an unusual scenario. It's also kind of unusual how you would just like smile after a narcoleptic attack. Even if they are used to it, they might feel disoriented, groggy, or even embarrassed. A lot of people might develop a sense of humor about their condition over time, but when you first come to, you might be, frustrated or confused, not smiling.
Sorry if this is a rude question, but how did you faint with your phone in your hand? So I'm actually not fainting in that video. We're having a cataplexy episode, which is a little bit different. So if I were fainting, I would have fully or partially lost consciousness. When I have a cataplexy episode, we are fully conscious the whole time. Cataplexy is basically just partial or full loss of some of your muscles. So actually, we realized that we're about to have cataplexy a second or two before you watch our face go slack. But by the time it's hit our face, we're already aware that oh, I'm about to fall. Also, for us, getting that full body cataplexy where we lose control of our legs is usually a gradual process of it hits our face and then it kind of runs down the rest of our body. And it does happen quickly, but there is enough time to kind of slow yourself down and redirect a lot of the times. Especially because we've been having this for years and years and we're just used to it. So if you actually go back and watch, the angle that we're filming at makes it look much worse than it actually is. Yay, narcolepsy with cataplexy.
It does seem to me like they're trying to save face here. I mean, why don't you talk about how you've achieved this for people who are going through similar conditions? But the entire video is just centered around how you were able to achieve this. They also make a lot of videos where they talk about experiences that can be very normal or a very wide range of disorders, which is very confusing to a viewer because it's do I have DID, ADHD, ASD? I mean, I'm gonna be so straight with you right now. I was questioning whether I might have ADHD or ASD when I was doing research on this video because I was like, oh my God, I do that. Oh my God, I do that. And then I look it up and it's oh, that's actually a normal experience.
Hi, back. Sorry, I got a long text from my mom and it's a whole thing.
Hey, I got abusive parents too, I get it.
What? No. My parents aren't. My mom is she can be a lot, but my parents aren't abusive. They did their best. You're so right. I must have been thinking of someone else. I'm sorry. I should not have assumed. Hey, could you, oh God, fuck. I'm sorry. I don't know where my head is today.
God, no, I feel that though. Dissociation is such a bitch.
What? Okay, I thought we'd have this conversation. So the dissociative spectrum.
I know this is posted under the context of a friend you know really well, but it is posted on TikTok to strangers who you don't know. Zoning out, struggling to find words is not always dissociation. It can be a very normal experience. We all experience brain fog, whether it is because we're stressed or tired. I mean, how many times have you walked into a room and you forgot why you went in there? Your brain is just the loading icon, but this is a normal experience. It is beyond just forgetting where you put your keys. Dissociation can involve feeling disconnected from your surroundings or yourself. Telling your friend that you think they're dissociating can make them overthink their mental state. Dissociation is serious. It can be linked to trauma, and misusing it can trivialize the experiences that people go through.
I'm sorry if this is a pain, but I know that you're bringing the salad. Would it be possible to set aside a separate section for me with no dressing and maybe put the toppings in a little separate container? I don't want to be too much of a hassle or anything. I really don't like salad dressing.
Yeah, of course. I'm always happy to accommodate sensory issues.
Wait, no. I don't have, it's not a sensory issue thing. I don't have sensory, I'm not autistic. Sure, you're not.
This could be related to sensory preferences, but it doesn't have to be. Some people might just want to have control over how their food is served. You know, what if they don't like beets or olives or something like that? They might have dietary concerns. They want to be mindful of portion control and regulate how much they consume. But I do wonder if the pillow fort system is assuming that this person has sensory issues because they're projecting onto them, and their reasons could be entirely different from your own. And there you have it, the complex and colorful world of vermin and the rats. Make sure to comment below your thoughts, but if you can't think of anything else, comment below your favorite vermin. I was gonna say rats, y'all, because I used to have my pet rats, but I'm gonna go ahead and say wild boars. Anyway, why can't I just have a normal question of the day? Thank you so much to today's sponsor, Bellesa. Make sure to join the giveaway in the description below. And thank you so much to each and every one of my members for supporting my efforts on this channel. It does mean the world to me, but to everyone, I hope you have a good day, night, whatever the case may be, and peace out.